Hi folks, Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with the latest Hokey video blog update on some of the flooding, some of the severe weather, and the wind potential that we have over the next 24 hours or so. It's going to be very busy around here on the Wave 3 Storm Tracking Team Center. Let's get you right to the latest on the radar right now. And it is mostly north of the Ohio River where we are seeing most of the rainfall at this point. Portions of southern Kentucky here in our southern viewing area got in on some of this rainfall earlier this morning, but it is all pushed northward at this point. So portions of southern Indiana, in fact, just about all you guys are seeing the majority of the rainfall at this point. Let's zoom out to a larger view and show you what's going on. Not a whole lot of rainfall in Kentucky proper right now. In fact, it's pretty clear across this portion of the United States, but look at all the rainfall, portions of southeast Missouri, southern portions of Illinois, even on down to the southwest Indiana at this point. Here's the deal with this area of rainfall. It's actually going to be pushing northward just a little bit more as we go throughout the morning. So folks in Louisville, we might not see all that much rainfall as we go throughout the mid and the late morning hours. There's still some down here in Paducah we'll be watching that may be moving through. But I think we're going to be continuing to see a relative lull in the action here, at least in Louisville, over the next few hours. And the reason for this flood watch being up mostly in southern Indiana, including some of these counties along the Ohio River, is because we've had all the rainfall mostly in those portions of the area. You'll notice that Grayson County is also in this too. They had some very heavy rainfall this morning, so that contributed to some of the concerns out that way, and that's why they're inside the flood watch as well. This goes through tomorrow afternoon, by the way. Here's our wind advisory. Wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour with consistent sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour are possible once we get through to this afternoon, because we will be having this clear slot. This will allow for warmer air to advect or to move in from the south. That'll really help kick up our winds in advance of tonight's line of storms. Speaking of winds, here's the wind gust potential from some of the data that we look at here. 43 miles per hour across much of the area. It could be our max wind gust by 8:30 tonight. And in fact, at that time frame, we'll be having a line of storms moving into the western portions of the viewing area. So even if you're not inside a thunderstorm, you could see a damaging wind gust or two out of this tonight. So if you've got lawn furniture, if you've got garbage cans that aren't secured, it's probably a pretty good time to do that, especially if you don't have any rain at your place at this time of morning when you're watching. Okay, power outages, they're going to be a possibility tonight with the wind gusts moving through, as well as the line of storms that could carry with it 60-plus mile per hour winds. I would say this potential is going to be maximized south of the Ohio River, where we'll probably have some more instability due to warmer air down this way to get storms going. Let's time this out on Futurecast. I think Futurecast actually has a really good handle on this. I'm pretty surprised at how good of a handle it's got on things as we go throughout the next 24 hours, and we're pretty much going to be using this verbatim here throughout this Hokey video blog here. So let's go throughout this morning. Rounds of rain in southern Indiana, some of it heavy at times. Then we get a brief break in the action, say after 12 o'clock noon today to maybe about 3 this afternoon. And this is when we'll see maybe a few showers across southern Indiana. Might be much of a lot of nothing if you're going south of the Ohio River. But pay attention to these temperatures right here. We're talking about 66 in Campbellsville, 64 in Litchfield. Those temperatures, they might be on the low side of things in terms of the guidance that we use, because I think we'll probably get up to around 70 degrees sometime this afternoon. And then once we get rid of that break and maybe a few waves of rain as we go throughout the mid-afternoon hours into the late afternoon and maybe even to the early evening, we watch what happens out to our west, and that is a renewed line of thunderstorms. This will be a squall line, what we call a QLCS, a quasi-linear convective system. Basically, that's a fancy big word for big line of storms with bowing segments that could produce wind damage. We'll be watching for that. Some of these bowing segments where you get those kinks in the line, sometimes you can get spin-up tornadoes too. I think the maximum potential based on the latest data is going to be south of Louisville for this, but we can't rule it out here in the Louisville area as well. So folks, south of 64, as Brian said yesterday, I think that forecast is holding up pretty well. Be on high alert for this. It's not going to be a tornado outbreak. In fact, this isn't going to be a severe weather outbreak by any means, but because of the time that it's happening on Saturday night when folks maybe aren't paying attention so much, that's why we're really hammering this home to you guys, so that you'll pay attention, you'll know that something might be coming there in the forecast that could be hazardous for some folks here in Kentuckiana. So we zoom this through after about 3 o'clock in the morning. Everything's gone really I say after midnight. We'll be winding things down across Kentuckiana, but if things stick around a little bit longer, it could be up to 3 o'clock. But as you're heading out on Sunday morning, maybe you've got Sunday services, or maybe you're just running some errands, temperatures will be falling. I think our high will occur sometime early in the morning, maybe around midnight or so. We'll be dropping those temperatures into the 30s by the time we get to Monday. Brr. I know we're used to the 30s, but after this 60-degree treatment we've gotten, and possibly up to 70 today, which would break our record of 69 for this date, we'll certainly be freezing it out over the next few days after this. Let's talk about the latest rainfall numbers. Now, this does not take into account the rain that we've already had. So you're noticing, only 3 inches now across Paoli? Well, the deal is some of that rain has already fallen, so that's why the totals here are lower. So I'm still saying about 2 to 4 inches north of the Ohio River, 1 to 3 inches possible as we go south of the Ohio River. That's why the flood potential has been maximized for the flood watch over portions of our northern viewing area here. Lawrence, Jackson, Jennings counties, Orange, and even Du Bois County. You guys will see the heaviest out of this. And especially with the flood risk we have, we are carrying with it the snowfall pack up there that has melted. So that's saturated the ground. That's making it even more wet. So that's not good news for folks up there. Where we haven't had as much of a snowpack, this won't be as much of an issue. But flooding potential not as bad as it seemed yesterday when we saw the potential for up to 5 inches of rain. I think that will top out more toward the 4-inch range. All right, SPC, Storm Prediction Center, issued a moderate risk for much of Mississippi, West Tennessee, into the Arklamis area of the south. Here in Kentuckiana, we're all under the slight risk of severe weather. In fact, there is a tornado risk that extends all the way up to the Louisville area with this update as well. And we'll be watching that potential, as we said before, because some of the maximum tornado potential will be occurring south and probably west of the Louisville area. Here's the bottom line in terms of timing. This morning, we get the heavy rainfall. This afternoon, we get a brief break in the rain after noontime or so. The wind advisory kicks in. We get wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher than that in places. And then by tonight, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. is our main time frame for severe thunderstorms to move through the region, this line of storms. Here in Metro Louisville, I would say between 10 p.m. and 12 midnight will be our best time for that to happen. Some of the threats that we're looking at, damaging winds, a few tornadoes, as we said, and then the heavy rainfall. So folks who are in flood-prone areas, especially across the river in Indiana, get ready. You might have to deal with a few issues. And then we'll be watching the rivers as we go into next week, the Ohio River, the White River, in portions of Jackson County there in Indiana. See what that does. Not forecast to go to flood stage at this point, but it could be very close. We'll watch that over the next few days. Of course, we'll be live here tonight. Christy Dutton will be in if she's feeling better. Of course, if she's not, Brian will be in watching the severe weather threat tonight, and we'll get you through tomorrow morning as well. Things should be A-OK and done. But we'll have your latest forecast tomorrow on Wave Through News Weekend Sunrise, starting at 5 a.m. on your Sunday. For now, I'm meteorologist Ryan Hoke.